Okay, we are live. What we have here today is a win or go home round in the tournament. We have 4 very good players. The bid room is open. We can go ahead and see and analyze the combinations here. But there will be no settling for second place here. All 4 of these players are on the bubble, and it's going to take a win. 13 points is about what you need to move on from the qualifying round, which is what this is, round 4, to the next round, which is the semifinals. So we have 4 players who need 6 points to move ahead. And 6 points is what you get for first place. 3 points for second place will not cut it. So this is essentially like a quarterfinal for these 4 players. It's win or go home. So let's talk about these combinations. Tier list time. Tagawa Industrial is the worst combination on the board, hands down. Down there at D. Crimea Mechanical is considered an S tier combination. Polania Militant is considered an A tier combination, but it's a high A tier combination, and probably even better than Rusviet Agricultural, which is also an A tier combination. So you would expect, just based on the tier list, for Crimea Mechanical to go for the highest, Polania Militant and Rusviet Agricultural to be at about the same place, and then Tagawa, of course, to be the 0 bid. But I would not be surprised to see Polania Militant as the highest bid combination in this round. So let's think about this for a minute. We've got Crimea Mechanical, which has bolster over deploy. And of course we know that Crimea Mechanical is going to make mechs. So Crimea Mechanical should have a good amount of power. If they go 8 workers, they should have a good amount of combat cards, especially with Rusviet to their right and Polania to their left, both enlisting. So it's going to be hard to get combats off of Crimea, unless you're Rusviet, who is probably going to be high power, because their bolster is over enlist. Tagawa is probably going to be a low power combination, because even though you get 3 coins for upgrading with Tagawa, to bolster into a lot of upgrades just slows your game down too much. So even though Polania Militant is a super powerful combination and might under some circumstances be the highest bid combination, we might find ourselves in a situation where it doesn't go as high as some of the other combinations just because combats will be difficult. You can get combats off of Tagawa as Polania Militant, but those traps can be just absolutely devastating. And depending on how Tagawa works those traps, it can make getting any sort of combinations difficult. So guys, let's go ahead and use that chat if you want, and let's talk about what you guys think about these combinations. I'm going to post in the, let's see here, Game Tournament Games. I'm just posting in the Discord to let people know that we've started. All right, that's done. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I like. I'm fairly certain that Rustfield Agricultural is not going to be the high bid combination. I think it's going to be Polani Militant or Crimea Mechanical. And I lean toward Crimea Mechanical because, as we talked about a minute ago, Polani Militant may have a hard time getting combats with so many high-powered combinations on the board. Difficulty with Rustfield Agricultural is it's difficult to end the game quickly with 4 mechs. Now, a lot of people will go for a speed mech and a Riverwalk mech and then just try to use their power and their combat cards to leverage their 2 combats. Going for the mech star with Rustfield Agricultural is slow. Chris Broadfoot says, hello, thanks for the Discord ping. I'm a noob, but keen to see high-level play. Yeah, man, this is going to be a good game. All 4 of these players are very good. Right now, Feast for Crows is the only one in the bidding room. We're waiting on the others to show up. Let's see. All right, so we've got... Let's see, let's refresh this and see if everyone else shows up in the room. Okay, they're all here. So I have to apologize for being sort of bad at pronouncing German names. So I'm going to call this fellow here Z. This is Viamer, BB Scythe, and Feast for Crows. So we see a quick 1 coin bid on Crimea Mechanical, which means, you know, that's the favorite combination for that player. Viamer goes straight to Polani Militant with a 0 bid. Not too surprising. I think those 2 are going to be close because even though Polani Militant might struggle to get combats, we're definitely going to see a lot of coins out of Polani Militant. So with tier 2 and a lot of coins, Polani Militant certainly has the possibility to just go out to a prohibitive lead and wear other factions down to the point where they can get those combats. If this was a game in an earlier qualifier round, Polani Militant might be able to lean on just getting far enough ahead that someone else ends for 2nd place. But that's not going to cut it in this game. Everyone is going to play for 1st, down to the wire. So this should be exciting. We should see people unwilling to end for anything but 1st place. So we see Crimea Mechanical and Polani Militant out in the lead right now. I feel like it's going to be a while before anyone takes Rustfield Agricultural, and then maybe a little bit longer even before somebody's willing to take Tagawa Industrial. I think Rustfield Agricultural is probably 8 to 10 coins above Tagawa Industrial, which means we may see Crimea Mechanical go as high as 16 or 17, and Polani Militant as high as 14 or 15, if I had to guess. What do you guys like in this combination? In this group? Hey Pfeiffer, long time no see. Yes, I am commentating solo on this match. Reached out to a few people, see if I could get a co-commentator, but they were busy, so I'm just gonna run this one solo. Glad to see you in chat, Pfeiffer. It's been too long. So thanks for joining us. Yeah, I had my game yesterday, so this is just a broadcast of a tournament game. But for those of you just joining us, all 4 of these players have to win to move on. This is round 4 of the qualifying rounds. After this comes semis and then finals. And to have a shot to get 13 points, which is probably the break point for getting into semis, all of these players need a win. Yeah, win or bust. Nice. Exactly right, 5. Wow, Crimea Mechanical's out to 12 coins with only 4 on Polani Militant. Now, it's possible VMware is just expecting Polani Militant to go farther up. And that's true. I mean, no one's going to take Tagawa Industrial when there's 4 coins on Polani Militant. So VMware may just be trying to speed along the bidding. So, oh wow, Feast for Crows willing to take Rustviet Agricultural with only 5 and now 6 coins on Polania Militant. Alright, so Polania Militant up to 7 now. Rustviet Agricultural is difficult. You need a longer game. It's not, you don't have your township mech. It's high stakes to be sent back home. You don't have People's Army. It's going to be difficult to get those combats, especially if you don't get good combat cards. But this bidding is moving along at a nice clip, which is great. Oh! Can I drop the tier list? Oh, yeah. We talked about this earlier, but Tagawa Industrial is a D. Crimea Mechanical is an S. Polania Militant is a good A, and Rustviet Agricultural is probably a slightly weaker A. I hope that's what you meant. So yeah, like we suspected, Crimea Militant is the favorite so far in the bidding, with Crimea Mechanical is the favorite in bidding, with Polania Militant in second, and Rustviet not a distant third, but a third nonetheless. And I think that's right. I think Crimea Mechanical has to go up at least 3 more coins before Tagawa Industrial gets taken. Rustviet Agricultural, Pfeiffer says Rustviet Agricultural is still A. Yeah, getting it for 0 would be potent. Yeah, you can't give someone Rustviet Agricultural for A with Tagawa Industrial on the board. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Alright, it's VMR's turn. Don't think anyone's willing to end yet. Yeah, I've been burned in tournaments with Rustviet Agricultural, and I've had some success with Rustviet Agricultural. It's just difficult to get the mobility that Rustviet usually has. Because if you go for all 4 of those mechs, Crimea Mechanical is probably going to end the game before you get the 4th mech out. Which means there's a good chance you have no township and no People's Army, which those 2 mechs are a lot of the strength of Rustviet. I love Polania Militant as a combination. In my game yesterday, I played Polania Innovative, and even though I was on pace to get to 6 stars first, I didn't have the power to get a combat. And Polania Militant may have a similar struggle in this game. Now, if they go for tier 1, they could target Tagawa's mechs, especially ones that have workers with them, because then you don't benefit from Ronin. You don't get that 2 power from having a lone unit all by itself. So we're back to Z. Takes Rustviet Agricultural up to 9. Only a coin off of Polania Militant now. And that's a little scary, I think, if you're Rustviet Agricultural, because there's a chance Polania Militant ends this game, especially picking on Tagawa, before you're really even out of your base and, ready to have your combats. Same thing with Crimea Mechanical. They can target Tagawa if they want. And you have to love the position you're in with Crimea Mechanical, because you're talking about having a lot of cards. You're gonna get that combat card enlist out probably in turn 3, and that's before Rustviet does any enlisting, and probably before Polania does any enlisting. So you can get maybe 8 cards from your neighbors, and if you go 8 workers, you're gonna get 4, 5, 6 cards off yourself, including the enlist bonus. So there will be no limit of cards for Crimea Mechanical. Pfeiffer says Tagawa Industrial needs Rustviet to go to 15, Polania 20, Crimea 25 to be worth taking, I think. Wow. I think Tagawa becomes a good deal at that point. That's it's pretty high. I've never seen Crimea Mechanical go that high. So this would be a first, at least in my experience. For me, I've seen go for 20 plus, but usually that's with the innovative board or with the militant board especially. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, hit that sub button down there and hit that bell to be notified when the stream goes live. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. I like to stream tournament games and post them to YouTube. So it's always fun when people join in and watch the games live and interact with the stream. So we've got Crimea Mechanical now to 16. No one's looking at Tagawa Industrial yet. In some ways, I feel like it's a bit of a shame that Tagawa Industrial is in this game because it just drives all these bids up. If it was Tagawa Patriotic or even Tagawa Innovative, I think we would see lower bids and bids that are closer together. Pfeiffer, I don't see Tagawa competing. Oh, Virtual Structure, Polani has a great factory potential here. Pfeiffer, I don't see Tagawa competing without a significant discrepancy in starting bids. Even 10 isn't enough to make it up. Tagawa, the player base has gotten to a point where Tagawa plays better than it used to, Tagawa Industrial. So Tagawa actually has a shot to stall the game with high enough bids, but I feel like Rusviet needs to go higher. Maybe as high as 12 before someone takes Tagawa. I'm not sure that 9 is enough, especially if someone plays a Rusviet Agricultural Tier 2 strategy. Oh, but here it is. Feast for Crows takes Tagawa Industrial. So let me get the bids on the screen. Gonna take me just a minute to do that. I gotta type these things in. Polani and Militant. $13. And Rusviet. Ag. 9. All right, looks good. All right, got Feast for Crows over here on the buddy list. So it says in room, which means that they're loading in, picking the combinations. They should be done with that in a few minutes. What do you guys like based on the bids? I mean, obviously it's going to depend on player skill level and how well they play. It's going to depend on encounters. But first impressions, what do we like here? I feel like Polani and Militant's going to need a really good encounter. Somebody mentioned earlier that Polani has great factory potential. Joe Dobson says good first encounter for Polani and they could tear it up. Yeah, I think that's right. These come okay in game, so we can jump in and spectate. All right. Round 1 Tagawa. I think Polania really needs to hit that factory first. And with these combinations on the board, I think Tagawa is the only one that could seriously challenge them for that factory. Unless Crimea Mechanical decides to depart from a typical strategy and just go straight for the factory. Always interesting to see Polania militant strategies to me, because they vary quite a bit. Some people like to rush the encounter, maybe get a enlist along the way. Echo Staffel says anything but Russ plays okayish here. Produce out of Rustviet, no surprise there. Russ not bad either, it's just uncomfortable to play, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with that. Rustviet Agricultural just always feels so clunky to me. So here's the trade for food out of Crimea Mechanical, setting up a produce into an enlist next turn. Oh, there goes my camera. I'll fix that, guys, so that doesn't happen again. Alright. Sometimes I forget to lock the shutter. I use a DSLR and gotta lock the shutter or it'll shut off every 30 minutes for a second. These players are playing really quickly. We're already in round 3, so everybody seems to know what they want to do. Tober says Polania is alone on one side of the board. Yeah, that's a good point. There's all this territory for Polania to spread into, and Rustviet can't bump them out of here. Crimea can, with Wayfair, attack this area. But these encounters are open to Polania, as is this one. And probably this one as well. So Polania is going to have no lack of encounters in this game. I think that's pretty key. Alright, we got to produce out of Polania. I like that. One trap with Polania is not getting to 8 workers soon enough. Getting caught with no ability to spread. Look at Rustviet Agriculture with Foundations of the Empire already with 2 stars on the board. The Tagawa setting themselves up for an upgrade. Let's see what they go with. Okay, produce into deploy. So we're going to see a mech out of Tagawa next turn. Or a move action if they want to produce something aside from oil. Trade for 2 food out of Crimea is interesting there. I think that means a produce next turn. And enlist number 2. So I think we're going to see 8 workers out of Crimea for sure. So Polania is probably going to either go to the encounter or I think we're going to see a trade from them. Joe Dobson is only first from here that will go to the next stage. Yes, this is round 4. This is the last qualifying round. And anyone who wants to move on from this round is going to have to get first place. So I don't think we're going to see anyone finish for second. Alright, this is a pretty typical Rustviet agricultural opening. So we're going to see a trade for oil in all likelihood next, and an upgrade of bolster and enlist, with Rustviet going for the Power Star. Look at this aggressive play out of Tagawa. 3 resources of their choice. Okay, so this is pretty cool. If they are willing to pay that $2, they could grab 3 wood right here and place a mill on this. What's the build bonus, guys? Over the tunnels. So they wouldn't get any sort of build bonus from placing it here, but it would mean every single produce gives them a mech because they've applied an upgrade to this mountain. Also, they could go with alternatively the worker here in 3 metal, which they don't need the popularity unless they're planning on going for a 8 worker strat with Tagawa. The 3 metal becomes a little bit superfluous though, since adding a worker to this spot means that they can already create a mech each turn and don't need that metal. So 3 resources, they're gonna go with the worker and the 3 metal, which, you know, I don't think that's a bad call. it does mean that a little later they can move off of this spot with their workers and still produce for a mech. Crimea produces to 8 workers like we thought. Joe Dobson, who is playing on what? Is it BB Scythe on Crimea? Let's see here. Let's see. We have Viamur on Militant, Z on Agricultural, Rustviet. We've got BB on Mechanical, and we've got Feast for Crows on Tagawa Industrial. Okay, there's the trade for oil that we expected Rustviet to do. All right, Tagawa going for 4 workers here. Gonna see mech number 1. Which one though? Toka. Fascinating. I mean, are we invading Rustviet's base? Is that what's happening? This metal is going to be this worker with the typical Rustviet's agricultural strat is vulnerable for a long time. Tagawa wants to take this metal and bump this worker. They certainly can. Okay, Polania wants that coin enlist before they grab their first mech. They want to benefit from Crimea's mechs, which haven't even started. Rustviet only has 1 out, and of course Polania has none out. So I like the patience of Polania here. Let's see if Rustviet brings his character down here to protect this this mountain. They don't. They're leaving this area vulnerable. They'd love to see metal off this encounter, I think, to be able to drop a mech on that spot. But they don't get it. The recruit is not very helpful. Neither is the food. So not a great encounter for Rustviet. I think they just take option number 1 here. The reason you don't take option number 3 is if you're not going for the mech star, you need the power star as Rustviet. Okay, I didn't expect this, but we've got Rustviet taking the 2 food, or the 4 food for 2 popularity rather. Interesting to see what they do with that. Oh, okay. Here's what they did. They took the 4 food, which is going to allow them to get 4 enlists without having to upgrade, which is actually pretty good because what it means is they can put that upgrade they got on their deploy. So the next produce, they're going to set themselves up to where they can immediately make a mech and place it right here and keep Tagawa from invading this area and ruining their day. Because next turn they're going to produce, Tagawa can't move, and then they can make a mech and place it right here. Hey Dur, how's it going, man? Tagawa shenanigans. Yeah, Feast for Crows being aggressive as Tagawa. Crimea, a little slow to get that first mech out, taking two enlists before it happens. Alright, Polania is going to the encounter. This is a huge turn for Polania. I like the double move here. Oh my gosh, guys. Polania just hit the jackpot. 8 resources if they want them. That's one thing that's so strong about the militant board is you start with that 3 popularity and you have enough coin, and this is the dream encounter for Polania. You got to actually think now, what are you going to take with all these resources? I mean, you're going to take at least 2 metal. And you're going to need, I mean, your next produce gives you enough food for the rest of your enlists. So, I mean, maybe you just take 8 metal. Missing Twitch emotes right now. There's a little, there's custom emojis though. There's a little, smiley face in the bottom left of the chat, right? Yeah, what would you guys take off of this? Take some oil and maybe an upgrade? Well, could you get enough metal for the rest of your enlists if you take an upgrade? So let's see, 3 oil. You spend 3 metal on this mech. All right, 4 metal into food. Maybe just 1 and 3. Keep tier 2 an option. Don't think that's a bad call. Check in on the score. Pretty close with Crimea slightly leading the pack. Of course, it's early in the game, so Tagawa is ahead after bids. The low bid is almost always ahead at this point in the game. Echo can just take 8 metal and have enough for the rest of the game. Yeah, for sure. All right, mech number 2 with Tagawa. So we're almost certainly going to see Rusviet with a mech right here. I think Tagawa drops Ronin here, which, bad news for Rusviet, probably means Tagawa can win this fight against this mech. Good news for Rusviet, they get that second mech out, and then they can counterattack Tagawa after enlisting a few times and getting some power. But they may have to give up the power star to do that. Crimea sitting on 2 popularity. I think they can afford to build a structure and drop a mine on this metal space, which they'll be very glad for if Tagawa is planning on trapping this tundra. So let's see. They have 3 popularity. If they spend 2 on this, they still have to produce twice more. Would that do it? That give them enough metal? 8? Yeah, I think with coercion they'd be fine. Alright, Polania. Can't get that second mech out, so probably a produce or a trade into an enlist. Gonna get that enlist. Polania is in a good spot right now. Still a question of how they're gonna get those combats, but right now with 4 power on the board, it's not bad. Okay, this is interesting. Rusviet just giving this spot up to Tagawa. Not really worried about Tagawa bumping this worker, which, you know, makes some sense, because if you're just going for the 2 mechs with Rusviet Agricultural, you already have what you need mech-wise. And it's just time right now to start enlisting and working toward that power star. So who really cares if Tagawa bumps this worker? You lose a territory, but that's about it. So here's the question. Is Tagawa about to beat Polania to the factory? And I think the answer is yes. Because Polania has to move to get that second mech, do something else, and then move again. So by not going for a mech last turn, Polania is going to lose first choice on the factory, which in my opinion hurts. Plus there's going to be a trap on that factory. And there's a good chance it's a coin trap, which is really painful. Yeah, Joe, I'm not sure it's a good game for Polania. I think Polania still has some challenges ahead, especially with the factory now looking like it's going to belong to Tagawa early game. This is interesting here. Tagawa going for enlists next. Let's see. They need 2 produces here to get enough food for all their enlists. And 2 produces here gets them to the worker star. Zutan might also be a pain for them for sure. Tagawa goes for those lakes. Okay, I didn't expect another produce out of Polania here. I thought they'd go for a mech. So we're going to see a mech out of Crimea next turn. game's going at a nice clip, guys. This is staying interesting. Rusviet choosing to go with the coin enlist first. You guys think that means they have good cards? Sitting on 4 of them right now. Here we go. Tagawa gonna start these enlists, probably moving to the factory the very next turn. Here comes Scout out of Crimea, in all likelihood, since they have the mine. Oh, and Shinobi for Tagawa. Tagawa now out of power, though. Which it's nice timing that they can enlist. But I think they already took... No, they haven't taken the power off the enlist yet. They got their initial power from the bolster into the upgrade. I like the way Feast for Crows is playing in Tagawa Industrial right now, leading the pack in its round 10 with some sizable bids to cushion him. Did we get Scout? Yes, we did get Scout to Polania now. You've got to see some sort of move into a deploy now. Joe Dobson, to be fair, Polania doesn't necessarily need the factory. I think that's true. You don't need the factory for your bottom row actions now because of the first encounter you got. And it's not super important to get a lot of other encounters because it looks like you've abandoned tier 2 as an option anyway. It hurts so much for Rusviet Agricultural to have Tagawa rush this factory because now, unless they build another mech, they can't get out through this village to the factory, and they can't get out and spread here without blasting their way through this crap. I mean, I guess they can come to this tunnel and spread around through here, but by the time they get there, the board's going to be kind of crowded. Dan says it's very nice to move every turn, though. Yeah, that's what I was going to say with Polania having the factory card. It's absolutely key for spread, because once you get all 4 of your enlists done and you get all 4 of your mechs deployed, I mean, moving is still helpful because you spread out, but then what do you do in between your moves? The big question. Interesting. Tagawa choosing not to move. I mean, they know that Polania can't move this next turn. So perhaps wanting to get that coin enlist out to catch this mech from Crimea. And maybe have a little power going into this factory so Polania has to think twice about going for it. Alright, we just saw enlist number 4 out of Crimea. So we're going to see they have enough resources for the remaining mechs. Polania enlists. They're up to 3 of those enlists now, and we saw an objective. Did anyone catch what it was? Let's ask in the Discord. Human shield? I think that's a good guess. I just don't know why they wouldn't have turned it in last turn. Look at Crimea Mechanical with 20 coins right now. A significant lead in coins. 33. Still only 6 ahead of Tagawa Industrial, though. A little bit scary if you're Tagawa because, I mean, an enlist factory card would be absolutely killer for them right now because they need that other bottom row action, which is going to be enlists in all likelihood, but it's going to take them something like 6 turns to get those enlists because they can only enlist every other turn unless they can pull an enlist factory card here. A pop factory card wouldn't be horrible, but they don't have much power or combat cards to work with to use it. So I think you want to see an enlist factory card. A mech factory card does you no good. You haven't geared yourself toward buildings. You haven't geared your strat toward buildings. I think maybe we see Enlist Factory card if there is one in that stack. Tagawa taking some time to pick it. Maybe meaning there's no obvious choice for them. 1 power for 3 coins. I don't think that's what Tagawa wanted to have to take. That's a stall. It's a stall factory card. Which, you know, isn't horrible, but I don't think it's what they wanted. So at this point we could see a move out of Crimea to get on the board. Or we could just see another mech like Wayfarer or Riverwalk. I don't think Wayfarer has much utility right now in this game. So if it were me, I'd either move out of the base or go Riverwalk. Crimea only at 1 popularity, not looking like they're super interested in tier 2. Unless they just get an encounter that really opens it up for them. I think if you're Rustviet right now, you're thinking, Tagawa, why me? I'm not leading. Rustviet's trailing the pack. In raw score and after the bids. Ooh, 2 power and 2 combat cards. Can't take number 3. Yeah, that's a nice encounter for Crimea. Yeah, Russ is gonna have a hard time, Dan says. Yeah, I agree. So does Polania attack this factory? Tagawa has 2 power, but will have 4 after Polania attacks. No! Polania going to block Crimea to the factory. And attack Tagawa. 4 coins that Polania loses. Polania has to win this fight. It's just too many turns to get back to the factory and to get a card. And you spent 4 coins just to engage in this combat. Polania's gotta win it. So I think we see 2 cards out of Polania here. They have a 5 and a 4, that'd be great. Tagawa choosing not to defend. Polania playing 2 4s. Getting 9 power to ensure the victory. Having good combat cards was huge for them there. Because they still have 9 combat cards. And the possibility to... Keep in mind, this mech here is susceptible to attack from Polania if they have Riverwalk, which they just took. Here, here, and here. So it would put Tagawa at 6 power and Polania wouldn't be able to win a one-on-one. But depending on what happens and if Tagawa gets drained of power at some point, we could see this being attacked at some point by Polania. Rustviet doing their last enlist. 1 power short. Typically, Rustviet gets that last power by trading oil and then moving. So we'll have to see if that's what they do, because the upgrade from moving gives them the power from the enlist bonus. What did Tagawa do here? They produce to get 4 more food. For me, I cannot move this turn. It's a tough thing for Crimea because they can get hemmed in this little corner here. It happened, I think the last tournament game I streamed, Crimea just got kind of trapped down here and couldn't spread out. Now it's good for them that these tunnels are open and they are on this tunnel as well as this mine. So for them, hopefully they won't get too hemmed in. Tagawa pulling their 2nd star. Drop down to 31, but let's see, I think that still puts them ahead in the bids. Okay. The objective was human shield, guys. I got a confirmation from the Discord. Alright, now it's Crimea's turn. And maybe we see something like Riverwalk right here. Yeah, I think you got to deploy if you're Crimea, right? The other thing you could do is you could, decides not to. You could have dropped 2 oil and then upgraded your bolster. And then after 2 bolster deploys, you would get the Power Star. That was definitely an option for Crimea. It didn't capitalize on. All right. Polania at 4 stars, guys. So what do we need out of Polania? If Polania has 2 5s, and they can go here without getting scouted, can they end next turn? What's the bid, guys? The bid is 13, so they got to beat Tagawa by 13. And right now they're up by 11. That would do it. But they'd take a risk there because, I mean, if they have 3 5s, the game's probably over. Unless Crimea moves. In such a way that Polania can't get a 1v1. Can Polania even use their factory card to do anything but move? They can. They're not on a tunnel, so no build bonus. They can drop a mine here, though. They want a factory card, but I think the regular move is the way to go. Yeah, Polania, yeah, virtual structure. Polania can end next turn. I think Crimea has to prevent it. I think maybe we have to see a mech. The mechs come out and double up on these spaces. No, Crimea's gonna upgrade. So guys, does Polania have the combat cards to end this? I mean, if Polania had a move upgrade, and they upgrade, giving Polania an extra power. So right now, a 5 and a 4 would do it. Okay, but now they're only up by 6 on Tagawa. So they need 13. So will it do it? 7? Yeah, 2 stars would be 6. Territory would be 7, 8. And then the 4 coins off of the deploy would be 12. You lose 1 coin off of spending the resources. So 11. So Polania has the combat cards. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is game. Crimea definitely going for that Power Star with that upgrade, setting themselves up into a bolster deploy next turn to get Is this happening? Is this game, guys? 14 rounds, Polania Militant. I mean, maybe they're rolling the dice that they don't get scouted. They had the cards, guys. They had the cards. 14 rounds, Polania Militant. In all likelihood, VMware moves on to the next round with 13 points. That was a thriller. All right, so let's do a little bit of math here. We've got Polania with a final score of 54 minus 13, so 41. We've got in second place Tagawa with 37. In third place, we have Crimea and Rusviet tying for third. There was a seven coin difference. And I think Crimea, with 3 mechs, a mine, and 8 workers, beats Rusviet on units. So we got Polania in first, Tagawa in second, Crimea in third, and Rusviet in fourth. Yeah, nice speedy game, definitely, Joe. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in, and congratulations, VMer. Best of luck in semifinals if you make it in. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time.